Okay, welcome back in to the Effortless Way masterclass. And like I said in the group chat, like I had so much fun yesterday, and I hope you guys did too. I love talking about these concepts because it's just, you know, it's not often that people talk about these things. And like we talked about yesterday, like 1910 is when that book was published, The Science of Getting Rich. And so not everyone's having these conversations. Hey, Anna. Hi, good to see you. Okay, so yeah, this is really sweet. So welcome back in. Did anyone do their homework, whether you're here live with me or on the replay? If you didn't catch part one, um, and you're on the replay, maybe you want to pause this and go find part one and then watch that first. If you're live with me, you can stick around because yeah, I mean, it's nice to watch them in order for sure. It's not going to make all the sense. You're going to miss some of the things by just popping into the second one, but that's okay. Live energy is where it's at. So I'm glad you guys are here. And I'm excited for our conversation today. So yesterday we discovered the effortless way. We became aware of the importance of having a clear direction, a pin on the map, right? We talked all about that. You must know where you're going. So I want to ask you guys that are live with me, do you have a clear image of where you're going, right? Inside Sovereign Millionaire, NAL's Inside Sovereign Millionaire, we were talking about this the other day, and she actually got AI to change the numbers on her Etsy shop. And then she has that clear image that she can get excited about. Because the thing is the conscious mind is our thinking mind. It's very like, it's like our reasoning mind. And our subconscious mind is emotional, right? We talked a little bit about this yesterday, but the conscious mind is the one that gets to decide. No way, she said I got 4 new sales since then. This is it, right? The conscious mind gets to decide, are we accepting or rejecting this information? The subconscious mind can only accept. So when we can create a picture for the subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind is emotional, it is in like imagery, right? We think generally, Kelty said otherwise, it's 11:11. Um we generally think in pictures, right? If I was to say, um, think of a picture of a palm tree right now, right on the screen of your mind instantly flashes a picture of a palm tree. So if we can show our subconscious mind, our emotional mind, a picture, just like Annael did, we can then get emotionally involved with it. We can get our subconscious mind on board. Okay, so um, yeah, that's really exciting. So do you have a picture? Do you have a picture of where you're going? If you need to, print it off, Photoshop yourself in there. If you want to make a little mini vision board, this is a cool opportunity to do this. But I'm going to give you the quick lowdown on the vision boards. Most people make vision boards and find photos of things that they would love, and they're like, "Oh, that'd be so nice." And then they hang it up there, and they're like, "Oh, I wish I could have that. I wish I could have that house. Oh, that car would be so nice. Oh, that, whatever it is, vacation." They put things up there that are just kind of like dreams. And then when they look at them, they affirm every time, it's a dream. It's a dream. And even this is also why affirmations don't work most of the time. Is because when you look at it, your subconscious isn't on board, right? Your emotional mind is still in the pattern of what you're living, right? So when you look at it, it's almost like that instant, oh, that would be so nice. I would love that so much. But then the subconscious is like, that'll never happen. Who are you anyway? How is that ever going to happen? That'd be selfish. Oh my God, what would my mom think? You get it? Okay. So if you do want to create a little vision board for yourself, I really want you to feel each um thing you're putting, your each destination or piece you're putting on the vision board. And maybe if it's even just, that Etsy shop, that storefront, those numbers, right? And for Kelty, the Amazon dashboard for her books. It's you can just have that on there. And I would actually suggest just having that thing on there, that one thing on there. But it's not this longing feeling and this wishing, it's this, it is done. Ah, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that that is done. Okay, so Gratitude, we're going to talk about that in a little bit here, but gratitude is a very big piece of the effortless way. And this is the differentiating piece, I feel like, between like the fake it till you make it, because faking it is kind of like on the inside, you're still kind of uncertain or trying to become. But when you are grateful for something, this is actually how we pray, right? When we pray, if you're praying to something outside of yourself or praying to God or whatever people pray to, many people will pray for, God, I would love to have, 10 more people in my membership. God, please give me the sign, for do I do this or do I do that? Okay, you can pray for guidance in that way, but you must be open to seeing it. But a better way to pray is in gratitude, making the decision, recognizing that you drive the bus. You need to put the coordinates in the GPS, right? You get to impress the formless substance with whatever you want, right? God just says yes. The universe says yes to whatever you want. So, saying that, I lost my train of thought. Saying that you've got to have that image and you got to know where you're going. It's going to come back. Let me just hold on. Okay, so tell me in the chat, do you have your image? Do you have it clear? See, I start talking down rabbit holes, and I've got like four rabbit holes going at the same time, and I'm like, okay, what was the main point of that talk, that conversation? Yes, it's forming. Love that. I love it. Yeah, we talked about that the other day. Like I said, Anna owns Inside Sovereign Millionaire, and she's got some, yeah, it's all moving. And the reality is that once we know where we're going, we know, like I said, who to be, and we know what to do. And all we need to do is muster up the bravery and the courage to go and do the thing, to go and do the thing. But most people live in, I thought I did, but so many factors to consider. Most people live in, maybe is it this? Is it this? Ah, I'd love that too. What about this? Oh, I don't know yet. And then we just circle it. We get in the car and we drive around the block, right? So things can happen really quick once we know where we're going, but we must have a clear image. Okay, I don't know what I was talking about before. It was good, but I can't remember. Oh, it was probably about faith and gratitude. That's what it was. Praying. We got it. Okay. So if we are praying for something we do not have, this all comes down to vibration. Yeah. But if we can have gratitude for what we do and do not have, you guys, I just created a gratitude journal. It's called the Rise Journal. And VIPs get a sneak PDF version of it. But gratitude is the key. Gratitude is a big component of that journal. And so, if we can find gratitude for what we can perceive through our five senses and what we cannot yet perceive through our five senses, that's how we can close that gap. That's how we pray. Thank you, God. My videos are going viral. Thank you, universe, for putting me in front of the right people. Thank you for sending me the right clients. Thank you for this business that just feels like absolute bliss, effortless bliss. Thank you for this beautiful life I've created. Thank you for this lake house. Thank you for this incredible, trustworthy, beautiful car that I get to drive my family around in. Thank you for this loving, compassionate partner that is like everything I've wanted and more. Thank you. And when you're in the vibration of gratitude, you actually vibrationally match that which you do want. Instead of saying, please, please, I need a new car. I need a whatever it is. You're in the energy and the frequency of needing. What happens when someone needs you? Hey, I need you. You can't leave me. Don't go anywhere. I need you. Without you, I would die. How does that feel? Repulsive. It feels disgusting. We're like, I'm going to go the opposite way. Okay, needing energy is repulsive. So when we need something, that's sending out a signal of need and it's negative, right? However, when we can move from needing into wanting, okay, I want something, that is great, but it's still affirming I don't have it yet. right? We can want something and that's nice, but it's better than needing because we're not like choking the thing, right? We want it. I would love that thing, but we're still under the impression of it's not here yet. Here's the realization. Okay, whatever idea you can originate in your mind, the mere fact that you can originate it in your mind shows us that it is possible for you to bring it to life. It shows us that the how could come through you. That is all you need. All you need to make a decision on that thing that you want is desire. That's it. The how will not and cannot come before you make the decision and before you need it, before you need the how. Interesting, right? So we go from needing to wanting to knowing. And if anything, you have faith and understanding. That's why I'm sharing all these like facts and quotes and proof and my own stories with you. Because if you can have faith and understanding that logically, by universal law, if you study the laws, if you understand the law of perpetual transmutation of energy, nothing is created nor destroyed. Everything already exists. Any idea in my mind that I originate already exists. It's just not here in this time and space. And it's in my mind, not Krista's mind, because it's my opportunity and responsibility to bring it to life. So if I can have faith and understanding, at least right now, faith in what I'm saying, faith in me, right? Until you have faith in you, that's okay. That is okay. So then you can know and have faith and understanding this is possible for me. I don't need to know how. Our world operates by law. And if I can understand the basic, even the basic laws, the law of perpetual transmutation of energy, the law of vibration, everything vibrates, the law of attraction, a secondary law to the law of vibration, right? Like attracts like. If I can even just understand that, we're going to talk about the law of compensation in a little bit here. Then I have faith and understanding. And then from knowing, I can move into being. Are you brave enough to be that version of you now? To stop becoming? One day I'll blah, blah, blah. You see how important it is to know where you're going? Because without knowing where you're going, you don't know who to be. You don't know, you can understand how it can unfold, but if you don't know where you're going, then you have no pin on the map. You have nothing in the GPS, right? You don't know who to be and you don't know what action to take. That is why the I don't know is so dominant and so prominent. Anytime someone says, I don't know, I'm like, you haven't made a decision. Because if you did make a decision, you'd know. You could just ask yourself, well, what would she do? And you just go and do it. You hold yourself with your will, one of our human capabilities, our higher faculties, as Bob calls it. You hold yourself with your will and you take action. Yeah. Okay, so we move from needing to wanting to knowing, having faith and understanding, to being that version of us. And when we be that version of us is just naturally how we express. Like I said yesterday, a non-drinker does not, look at the drink menu. Someone who is healthy does not walk down the chip aisle and fill the cart with chips or sit on the couch with potato chips at the middle of the night or whatever it is, right? Someone who's healthy goes and just naturally drinks water and naturally expresses through walking or moving her body or whatever it is. When we be, there is no more becoming. Okay. So that's interesting. So, however, we have something really beautiful called, well, there's many names for it. We talked a little bit about it yesterday, but mostly I call this kind of our identity. We call it our self-concept. We can call it our program, our like central system, our like computer software inside our head, inside our body. Bob calls it the paradigm, right? We have a collection of patterns that we've collected over our lifetime. So yesterday I gave you the task of becoming aware of your thought patterns. What did you guys find? If you came yesterday and even if you're here with me on the replay, what thoughts did you become aware of? Does anyone want to share in the chat? Even if you didn't catch yesterday, NAL, what thought patterns have you currently or in the past become aware of? because the thought patterns are actually showing us what our point of attraction is, showing us what our beliefs are, showing us where our habits are, right? If we're trying to, this is why affirmations don't work. If we're trying to tell ourselves, um, let's say, I am wealthy and prosperous. I am wealthy and prosperous. And then you your conscious mind is like, no, you're not. Look at your car. No, you're not. Blah, blah, blah. It's like trying to show you proof, right? That is the thought looping pattern that we're looking for. Because that no, you're not is actually what we want to look at instead of just ignoring it and trying to suppress it and, sweep it under the rug or whatever. We want to actually take a look at it and say, okay, why? Why not? You know, um, another, if we're saying, I'm wealthy and prosperous, your conscious mind could say, who are you anyway? Who are you anyway? There we go. That's a good one. I don't deserve what I have. I'm always scared someone will find me out and remove what I have. Imposter syndrome. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. Right. And so when we become aware of this, we can actually admit it to ourselves because we must be honest. We must be honest about where we're at. We must be honest. If we are to build awareness, we must be honest. So if we say, okay, there's part of me that doesn't really deserve or that feels like I don't really deserve what I have. I'm afraid that someone's going to come and find me and, call me out and tell me I'm a fraud or whatever it is. Interesting. Then we can actually sit with that for a second and say, why? Is that really true? Like it's almost like proving ourselves wrong. Okay, and more times than not, what we'll find is this is a learned habit. This is a learned behavior. So maybe something happened in the past where someone told you you got to work really hard. You got to work really hard for money. Life is hard. You got to work hard. You got to get a good degree. You got to do a really good job. And like all those like beliefs somebody gave you. Okay. And then we can recognize through just becoming aware of these looping thought patterns that we're still living in the past. Part of us is still believing those beliefs. Maybe you even hear this is a common one: money doesn't grow on trees, right? Money doesn't grow on trees. One for me that I realized a while ago was it's quite a long time ago now, but I realized that I had this commitment to chaos. Like if my life wasn't chaotic, I had to create chaos. And I learned that from my mom, love you so much. And once I realized that, wow, I then began to realize that I was like actually intentionally creating chaos in my life. And I needed to have something to focus on or something to not necessarily focus on, because focus, like you talked about yesterday, is good to have a destination, but it's like something to like mess up. And that's really weird. So then from there, I was able to intentionally catch myself and create space and be okay in the space. Okay. So once we can become aware of our thoughts, because we are not our thoughts are just patterns, then we can begin to change them. So I do want to add something in here. Many people, and even coaches and, counselors, like well-meaning people, healers, they get caught there. They get caught in this almost another pattern or cycle of trying to heal or trying to fix what is wrong. And I don't believe that. I believe that we can become aware of it. If you want to, if you feel like it's your first time becoming aware of it, you can follow it back and realize, holy cow, this came from my great grandpa. And he died because he was working himself to the bone because he believed he needed to, right? That's just his program was, and for a good reason. He came from the war. He came from like actual scarcity and rationing and, blah, blah, blah. So we can show our conscious mind, okay, this is where it came from. However, we get to decide when we're healed. We get to decide when I'm ready to take the next step. We get to decide when that thought no longer owns us. So once we can become aware of it, because without awareness, we don't know, right? Once we become aware of the thought, we can then say, I'm done. I am healed. I'm healed. Because that's the loop that, even in the spiritual world, it's like, um, I'm healing. I'm healing. I'm healing. No, like, when are you going to be healed? And like, do you see what I'm saying? So you get to decide when you're healed. But here's another layer to this, and it's actually connected to my tapping method, which I'm going to share with you in a little bit here. There's another level to this, is that when you know where you're going and you know who to be, you know what action to take, you heal. You heal. Yesterday we talked about how what words did I use yesterday? Order, right? We talked about order and organization. There is an order to life, right? We talked about the laws and how our universe is literally governed by law. When you study the laws, you learn the rules to the game of life and you begin to understand how life actually works. There is an order to life. And so, I lost my train of thought again. My gosh. There is an order to life. What was the saying? You guys following? Got it. When you know where you're going, it creates order in your head, right? Because, you know, Bob Proctor says something that's like, um, when you don't have to think about money, you'd be amazed at how much time you actually have. And it's true. Okay, so when you don't have to think about all these moving pieces and these other factors to consider, you'll be amazed at how much time you have, right? When you are making money through multiple sources of income, you'll be amazed at how much time you have. It's this. So when we have order in our mind, we have a destination, we have something to focus on, and we know who to be and what action to take. And we can just, focus, hold it with our will, and take the action. We actually create a lot of space, right? And so I started to talk about, well, I asked you guys what thoughts came up, right? What thought patterns you noticed, because we have been existing in a pattern and we do have habits that we've collected over our lifetime. And those habits, Bob calls it a paradigm, do govern who we are and what the world is, what our world is, what our perception of the world is. And that's really interesting to think about. Okay, our brain actually has a part of the brain is called the RAS, the reticular activating system. It is basically, uh, decoding or like collecting millions of pieces of information. And then it only gives us what we want to see. But I actually Googled this last night because I was really curious as to like what does it show us and how does it know what to give us. I'm actually just looking through my notes to see if I wrote it down. And I don't know if I did. I can't find it. But it is, oh, here it is. It's programmed through repetition. Yes. Emotional intensity, clear goal setting, and focused attention. Okay, it's the brain's filter, and it learns what to look for based on the cues that we consistently feed our conscious mind. Interesting. So, in other words, what we've reacted to in the past and how we've reacted to it. That's what the RAS shows us. So, saying that, our perception, like what we see the world as, doesn't actually exist, right? I mean, it does exist, but it's not the same as how I see the world. It's not the same as how Anna else sees the world. Reality as we know it is is it's got like a filter on it, and this is it. The RAS is showing us what we basically want to see, what we assume is going to be there. interesting to think about, right? Because the world isn't a bad place, right? The world isn't, hard. Money's not hard to come by. The economy is not even, not even failing. It's just a pattern and a cycle and even a season. Interesting, right? So when we think about it that way, um, we begin to look at things differently, just like Wayne Dyer said. You look at something, the things you look at change. The change the way you look at something, the things you look at change. So saying that becoming aware of our thoughts is going to be very, very important and making sure that they match where we want to go. Because the version of us who is already living that reality, the version of us who is making, whatever number NAL put on there for her Etsy shop, that's just one of her forms of income, right? She thinks different thoughts. She doesn't think, oh, no one's going to buy this one when she puts up a new product. Mm-mm. Right. And so we must become aware of those thoughts and we must shut them down. Okay. How do we change those thoughts? How do we change the subconscious mind and this program, this paradigm, these habits? Becoming aware of them and then overriding them. Because whatever we focus on, it expands every time. If we're saying, I don't want to do this, I don't want this, we're still giving our energy to it, right? So what we need to do is realize it and then choose again. What would I love? What would she do? What would she think? That's how we're going to reprogram the subconscious mind. So the paradigm or the program or whatever word we're using, it actually was made through repetition, right? Over our entire lifetime, especially around the age of 7. So I want you to think back to how your life was when you were a child, right? Because before the age of 7, our subconscious mind is wide open. It's just collecting everything around us as truth. There is no reasoning. There is no filter at all. If mom says life is hard or, men are jerks and never get married, if mom, whatever is going on, if you're, you were born into some sort of poverty or lack or scarcity or abuse or whatever it is, our subconscious mind was wide open. We just accepted it all as truth. Okay. And then that created the program that we are running. That created the perception that we have, the way in which we see the world, a lot of it. So over and over again, we were told things, and that became our program. That became those habits. That became actually our identity. So essentially, the outside world created our identity for us. School, university, like whatever situations, jobs, the people around us, a lot of the influential people around us, right? Teachers, doctors, parents, things like that. We took their words at face value and accepted them as truth. And so, how do we change that program? It's the same way through repetition of a new idea. That's why I say once we recognize, we don't sit there and try to decode it. We decide, I'm healed. I no longer live there anymore. This is the truth. Okay. So, that's how we change the paradigm. That's how we change the program is through repetition. So if we know where we're going, we then know the thoughts we need to think. Okay, is this landing? Is this making sense, you guys? All right. So the next step to this, though, is that we cannot create beyond what we are available to receive. So this is a whole, bigger conversation. This is where, the word capacity comes in. So essentially, if we want, let's say 20K months, but our nervous system, our identity, our beliefs, our habits, our behaviors, who we believe we are, is organized around 5K months, there is a mismatch. Okay. Even more, if we want 20K months and we are all of the things, our program is running on lack and scarcity. And you have a habit of looking at the numbers, trying to add up the numbers and make them work and figure out how to move things around and do things. Okay, there is an internal mismatch because the version of you who easily and consistently earns $20,000 cash each month, right? Through multiple sources of income. She doesn't think those thoughts. She doesn't have those habits. So we see where there's this mismatch. So this is really interesting because we need to become aware and then we need to reprogram to be able to attract and vibrationally match the 20K months. Because again, we talked about this yesterday, it's not what we do. It's not what we do. So working harder, I've seen this more times than not, okay? I've seen this over and over and over in multiple industries. It's not what you do, right? I used to work in a direct sales company and there was women who would come into the business and just take off. There was women who would come into the business and struggle. The same business. They had the same training, the same mentorship, the same product they're selling. One would take off, one wouldn't. Why? Self-image. Self-image and capacity. It's the program that they were running. One believed that she could be successful. One believed that she was still on the struggle bus and needed to make some money. All right. Is this connecting some dots? Okay, hopefully this is helpful, right? But what does this have to do with the effortless way? What does this have to do with the effortless way? Is because that those ones that would take off would be working with the law. They'd know where they're going. They'd have a clear goal, a clear image in their mind, right? They would become that image through upgrading their habits, and they would hold themselves with their will and take new action in a new way. They didn't know maybe that they were vibrationally matching that 20K month, but they were, and they were working with the law. Whereas the other women who weren't succeeding were not choosing the effortless way. They were telling themselves a story of, I need to make money. I need to teach this workshop. I need to sell X amount of packages so that I can pay my rent this month. Feel the vibration there. Of course, they're not working with the law. Well, in a good way, as the laws are always working, right? The law of attraction is always working for us. It's just attracting more of what we already are. And the thought patterns that we are circling and playing on repeat, the beliefs that we're holding, the actions that we're taking, it's just matching us because we are driving the bus, remember? Okay, so I hope this is helpful, but this is why it has to do with the effortless way. So when it comes to capacity, we must become aware of our thoughts and we must change our thoughts. So let's move into the nervous system, right? This comes down to the nervous system. I've actually read a book a really long time ago. I want to reread it and really study it. It's called Psycho-Cybernetics. Has anyone ever read it? It's a really old book. Be super cool. Psycho-Cybernetics is by Maxwell Maltz, and it was written back in the 1960s. So he has this concept that the human brain acts as an internal guidance system to achieve goals based on self-image. So do you guys know what cybernetics is? Have you heard of the word cybernetics? Okay. Cybernetics is kind of like an autopilot system. So planes have a cybernetic system, right? The what's that called? The pilot of the plane. The pilot of the plane can literally walk back through the aisle while the plane is moving through the air, right? Why is that? Because it's on that autopilot, right? Probably the new cars like Teslas they operate on a cybernetic system where there's this autopilot system that anytime, maybe the plane as it's driving along hits some turbulence and gets thrown a little bit off course, the cybernetic system will actually bring it back on course. So it's this autopilot. So we actually have a cybernetic system in our body, in our mind. And you know, this is another analogy for this is kind of like a thermostat, right? So the thermostat, if you program your thermostat, you move it in the house, you tell it, okay, like I want my house at this temperature. When the temperature in the house goes lower than that, the thermostat kicks in and it brings it back up. When the temperature in the house goes higher than that, if you have an AC unit in your house as well, it brings it back down. So we have our own cybernetic or thermostat system in our own body. And this is what we're talking about when we talk about capacity. So we've been operating for so long in a certain set point. Sometimes people call this a glass ceiling. So we all have a glass ceiling. that maybe we're just not aware of. And we can become aware of it. It's also sometimes we can become aware of it through looking at our results. So I've also seen this before with multiple people where in one job they're making a certain amount of money. And then they start a second job, or maybe they start a second business. And in that business, they make a certain amount of money and they can't seem to get past that money, that amount. It's because their thermostat is set there, their self-image is set there. They have the habits and beliefs that match that certain amount of money. Does that make sense? Has that ever happened? Okay. So we must first become aware of it. We just become aware of the thermostat, right? Become aware of, have faith and understanding, study, become aware of the RAS, become aware of what's actually happening here, become aware of how the nervous system works and what it actually is. You guys have heard this a million times, I'm sure, right? The nervous system's job is to keep the body safe. Just collecting information through our five senses and sending it back to the amygdala. The amygdala is telling us what to do, fight, flight, fawn, or freeze. Anytime we get scared, anytime we feel fear, anytime we're outside of the comfort zone, anytime we push up a little bit past that, set point of the thermostat, the nervous system, bam. But when we can have understanding that, oh, this is what's happening. I'm not actually in danger right now. Even though my body feels like it's in danger, I'm not in danger. Even though this thought feels really loud and feels really real, it's actually not. I know this. I always used to tell myself, I don't live there anymore. We are safe. I don't live there anymore. I am safe. And then that would calm my nervous system down and I could continue to do the things. Okay. So sometimes when it comes to posting on social media, right? And we say we want our videos to go viral. We say we want our business to go viral. But in reality, can we hold that? Can we hold what going viral actually means? And what that could mean is a whole bunch of comments from people who don't agree with you. Can you hold that? That is where we get to really understand our set point or our, what's another word we want to use? Our glass ceiling, I guess. Okay. Or our patterns, our programs. So this is really interesting because I mean, there are probably many ways to expand your capacity, but I've created a tapping method. I've been utilizing EFT tapping for many, many years, and it is one of the tools that helped me to quantum leap from government housing to Costa Rica in 9 months, is because I reprogrammed my subconscious mind. Instead of giving my power to those looping thoughts of poverty, of scarcity, of lack, of fear of judgment from other people, right? Um, of like creating and searching for drama and chaos, I actually became aware and I started to tell myself new story. Every single day, I would tap every single day. And any moment I would feel those old thoughts coming back in, I would tap. Okay, so I created a tapping method. I called it the expand method. There are three parts to the method, and I created it because it is a tool that changed my life. However, I recognize that we don't always have to look for something that's wrong. There becomes a point when we're tired of our shit, right? We've heard the stories a million times in our own head. And like I said, we've chosen. I've healed. I don't live there anymore. So with traditional tapping and other people's methods, I found that they always wanted us to look for something that was wrong. And I was like, you know what? I'm healed. I'm wrong. I'm like not wrong. Like I'm good. And I want something that expands my mind, expands my capacity. So I created a tapping method. So the first part is awareness, right? We want to, of course, become aware. And so um this is a style of the tapping method that is looking for something. If you wake up in the morning and I'm like, I don't know why, but I'm feeling off today. I feel like I feel down, I feel blah, blah, blah. And I want to explore this emotion to see why I feel this. Because remember, our feelings show us our vibration and our point of attraction. That's the law of vibration. So the first part of the tapping method is to build awareness around how we're feeling or what's going on. Or, if we have a fear, like Anael, if she was like, I have realized that I have this thought pattern that part of me doesn't really believe that I deserve what I have. right? That's perfect. That's a beautiful tapping statement, right? I'm always scared that someone will find me out and remove what I have and take it from me. And this doesn't feel good. It feels like, what does it feel like? It feels scary. It feels awful. It feels like I'm not safe. Yeah. Okay. And what we then do is we talk through it. We talk through it and we get what is circling in our mind, we get it out and we bring it out to the surface so that we can actually then move on to processing that. So sometimes, so when we go from venting, right, venting, we move into processing. We're actually start to forgive ourselves. I forgive myself for thinking these things because I know now it's not true. And then the third part is we activate and expand into the truth. So sometimes, though, we jump right into the expansion piece because we're good. We've healed. We've decided I am healed. I no longer live there anymore. All right. So you guys have experienced my tapping method before, but maybe some people who are on the replay haven't. So before we tap, actually, let me see. Let's create a little activation together if you guys are down. You guys are up for that. Um, I want to know how you want to feel. Okay, so tell me in the chat how you would love to feel. If you wake up in the new morning, how do you want to feel? Maybe you want to feel alive. Maybe you want to feel safe. Maybe you want to feel, there we go, confident, proud, high vibe. I want to feel good. Feeling good is so good. Okay. What are you letting go of? What are you letting go of? What are you moving? Okay, confident, yes. Okay, doubt, yes. What else? Maybe fear, worries. Yeah, okay. Amazing. All right, let's do it. Fear of the unknown. Okay, that's awesome. So good. Doubt, inexperience, worries. What do you mean by inexperience, or was that a typo? Okay, keep them coming. If you have more to add, I'm just gonna get my mic out so we can um, record it for you guys. Okay, but I don't know what I'm doing. I love that. Okay. Any worries, fear, doubt? Um, awesome. All right, amazing. Okay, so what I want you to do is come to a comfortable seat if you're not already there. Pretty sure you're already there. Take a couple deep breaths. Let's roll your shoulders up and back. Okay, and I want you to close your eyes. I want you to close your eyes and I want you to slow down your breathing. So become aware of your breath. Just inhale nice and deep into the belly and exhale at the mouth. Inhale and exhale. Notice your shoulders dropping down, feeling your feet firmly planted on the earth or your sitting bones. Take another inhale. And as you exhale, I want you to notice your body softening. It's almost like you're melting into the earth. Okay, I want you to come into a very relaxed state. There's nowhere to be, nothing to do, letting go of any thoughts, any worries. just being here. Take one more breath. And exhale at the mouth. Okay. We're going to start by tapping right on the top of the head. Do what I do, say what I say. I have decided that today is a wonderful day. Today is a beautiful day. Today is a great day to have a great day. And as I go into my day today, I'm going to see synchronicities and coincidences everywhere I go. Things are going to unfold in my favor in the best way. And every time I notice these coincidences, I'm going to take them as signs. Signs that I'm going in the right direction. And that I am exactly where I'm meant to be. And I'm going to celebrate because I know that there's more where that came from. And before I begin my day, I'm going to free myself from any old stories. Anything that I might be assuming that isn't true. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm not good enough for this. Like, no one wants what I have. Like, who am I anyway? Any of these old doubts or worries, I know they're just fears. Fears of what I do not know yet. And that's okay. I'm letting them go. Because I know that I get to choose what happens next. I feel so alive. I feel so confident. I feel so safe and secure. And I feel so good. And I'm so grateful for how far I've come. And I'm so grateful for this beautiful day full of opportunities ahead of me. And I'm going to go into my day now, open and ready to receive. Excited to see it all unfold around me. Because I know that it's already done. I have nothing to worry about, nothing to stress about. The universe has got my back. It's already done. Okay, close your eyes. Put one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly. Take a deep breath in. And exhale. Take one more breath. Notice how you feel. And exhale. Okay. So that was a little impromptu, a little bit uh still powerful. I want you to practice that tapping activation every morning. Okay, and if you um notice how you feel, right? I want you to really come into the activation as relaxed as you can. You know what? Because that's when we can really get into the subconscious. Because if we are coming like in a stressed out, like, busy or hurried state, the subconscious tends to be more guarded. The conscious mind is more on guard. And so when we can be in this relaxed state and we can get the image and the feeling of where we're going and how we want to feel, right? I feel so safe and secure. We can actually impress that feeling and those words to the subconscious, and we can actually start to reprogram it. So thank you guys for contributing to that one. I hope that was helpful. That's just an example of some of the tapping activations. I have a whole library inside the Expand Tapping and Business membership where we have got many, many different activations. Um, yeah, they're so fun. Tapping is such a powerful tool. So I would suggest, I'm going to put the link to the direct recording of the activation as well. I will send it in your email if you registered for the event. Okay, and if you're in the group chat, I'll drop it into the group chat as well, so you can have easy access to it. All right. Yay, you're so welcome. Um, let's bring it in. We're at time now. I'm gonna run a few minutes over, but I want to bring it all together. Okay, there's an effortless way. Can only be realized through doing things in a certain way. And I hope now, my hope is that you understand, at least understand the certain way. The certain way is by law. It's by universal law. It's by understanding the rules to the game of life, understanding the perpetual transmutation of energy, the law of attraction, right? Everything you desire exists and is always moving into form. So, like I said, the idea that you originated is proof that it's possible for you. You're the one here to bring it into the 3D world. So you drive the bus. God works through you. He always just says, yes, yes, the universe, the quantum field, the formless substance, whatever you want to call it, is just waiting for your lead. Okay, but it can only work through you as much as you are willing to be brave and audacious. So you must work with your nervous system to expand your capacity, right? Okay, and you must have faith. And at least you have faith in understanding. Yeah. Okay. So I love this quote by Earl Nightingale. He's the author of The Strangest Secret. He says, success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. We've been taught success is a destination. It's not. Success is not a destination. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. So what does that mean? Success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. You are consistently moving towards a destination, an idea that only you can experience in your imagination. That is actually success. So, success is not arriving at a space. Success is actually, have I done my part today? I'm successful. I love that, right? It changes it a lot. Okay, so you got to know where you're going. You got to know who you need to be and how to do things in a certain way. You got to know how to work with the laws. So let's talk just for a quick second on the law of compensation here, because money isn't something we chase. When we chase something, it runs from us. Yeah. Money is exchanged for value. So instead of saying, how do I make more money? How do I get more clients? How do I sell more things? We start asking, how do I create more value? How do I have more fun? How do I live more in my purpose and my passion and create from there? Because the how is going to come through me. I am the vessel, I am the vehicle. Yeah. Okay. So the law of compensation states that you will be paid based upon the need for what you do, how good you are at it, and your ability to be replaced. But do you believe that there's a need for what you do? Do you believe that you're really freaking good at it? Do you believe that, Joe Schmo could just come around tomorrow and replace you. Maybe at your job they could, that's why it's so important for us to have multiple sources of income. So the one that we really need to work on is the second one, how good we are at it. That's the one that's really in our control. Because how do we get good at something? It's through studying, it's through practicing it. It's through doing all we can with all our might, right? Not burning ourselves out and overgiving and overextending ourselves. It's just doing a good job. So whatever it is we're doing, are we doing it with all our might? Are we doing it with our full body like we mean it? Or are we just half-assing our way through it? Because then we're going to get half-ass results. Yeah. Okay, so we don't make money as well. We don't make money through working for it. We make money through providing a service. We work for satisfaction, passion, and pleasure. So I want you to ask yourself, am I working for satisfaction, passion, and pleasure right now? Or am I too scared to start? Or am I too scared to show up? Am I too scared to say what I actually want to say? Out of fear of judgment, out of fear of someone else not liking me, out of fear of failing because I don't know how. Are we? It's a good question to ask ourselves. And it's all about asking ourselves the right questions, right? So money isn't just a number, right? It's about money is kind of like a reflection of the good that we've done in the world. And that's really exciting. So if you would like to have more money, which we all do, because, money is a tool. It's a tool that we get to exchange. In today's economy, money is our main form of exchange, right? So if we want more money, we need to do some good. Do some good, but it's not just doing like we talked about. It's doing in a certain way. It's creating from the inside out. It's through elevating our identity and who we believe we are, because money also expands us. But money, just like everything, is attracted based upon the thing that's attracting it. So if we're attracting money in that, capacity of a certain number or lack, that's how much money we're going to receive. If we don't believe our product or our service is uh what's it called, worthy, right? If it's not valuable, then we're not going to receive money in exchange for it. But if you think that what you're selling is the best thing since fucking sliced bread on this planet, guess what's going to happen? You're going to sell it. You're going to sell it, right? And as if you can be brave to take the action in a new way and then continue to reprogram your mind to believe new ideas, it's by law, it will happen, by universal law, right? So we must be disciplined. We must give ourselves a command and follow through. Yeah. But sometimes it's really easy for us to listen to those thoughts. It's really easy to go back into the doubt and worry. That is why community is everything. Yes. Community, like-minded people, getting yourself inside of programs and spaces that expand you. All right. And then, of course, gratitude. Gratitude is the key. So we don't ask through needs or wants. We ask through knowing it is done because it's already done, right? I just spent 2 days talking about the fact that everything exists, the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. If you didn't know that, now you know it. And now you can have that faith and understanding that all you need to do is ask for it through thank you, through gratitude, and through moving in the assumption it is already done. What is around me right now no longer owns me. The numbers in the bank no longer limit me. The people around me no longer hold me back because it's already done. Anything I can see and hear, I can hold and hear. All right. So to close it all up, what if we talked about that flicker of, I know there's a better way, right? Most of you registered for this masterclass because you have something inside you that said, there is a better way. I know there's a better way. And so you were brought here for a reason. Source brought you here. You're always exactly where you're meant to be. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. Here we are. And so instead of learning another strategy, we're looking for something more outside of you to change. What if you looked inside? That's what we've just spent the last 2 days doing, realizing that the effortless way is not this magic strategy or this secret key. The effortless way is really inside. It's really you. You get to create. You get to, yes, learn the laws, but you are the effortless way. It's so fucking easy. It's easy to be yourself. But we've spent most of us, a lifetime being told that we can't be ourselves. So it's really easy when we can be ourselves and let ourselves trust ourselves and take that intuitive action that is sent to us, right, through our imagination or our intuition from that infinite formless substance or God or universe. We can take that information and be brave enough to take action. Okay, so what if we looked inside and what if we realized that all we need to do is trust ourselves enough to take action in a new way and say, yes, this is what I want, and keep taking action, even when it feels scary, even if it doesn't feel like it's going to work, right? Even when the whole world is telling you the opposite thing, can you hold the faith? What you did ask yourself, can I hold the faith? Because we are the vessel and the vehicle. Okay, so I know that some of you here are ready to take your next step towards fully living the effortless way, like living not just in business, in life too, not just in life and business too. The effortless way is a way of existing, and it is very much effortless because once you're aware of it, you're like, holy shit, how did I not see this before? Holy shit, everything keeps happening for me in the perfect, exact moment exactly as I need it. And we begin to notice when we start to stress and control, that's when we kink the hose, right? When we tell ourselves, I can't do that, the money's not here yet, I shouldn't do that. We kink the hose and we notice that contraction in our body and that feeling in our vibration, that dip in our vibration. And then we see the effects of that. Yeah. So this is why I'm going to screen share for a second. I have a new 8-week program. Aniel's already inside. I've also got a few other people. Actually, let me just, oops, I pressed the wrong button, but that's okay. Crap. I'm just gonna stop sharing there for a second. I thought it was up, but it wasn't. Okay, here it is. Here we go. Okay, this is Paid by God, you guys. This is so exciting. So, Paid by God is a new program that's starting in September, and it's basically what we've talked about today, the effortless way. And it is over 8 weeks where we go into this information in more context. Okay, we have 4 live lessons, we have 4 embodiment sessions. So, what that means is that the live lessons will be a jam-packed, like, information. I teach through concept and experience, like I mentioned. We've got those live lessons, but then we've also got 4 embodiment sessions, which means that we're going to integrate together. This is where you can bring your questions. Okay, this is what makes my work really different because it's not just about learning and coming and bringing your notebook and learning the concepts. It's actually integrating them, not alone, together. So there's 4 embodiment sessions. We also have a private group chat for this program as well. Like I said, there's already a bunch of girls in it. It's going to be so exciting. We're going to start mid-September. You also get the bonus of the Expand Tapping and Business membership for those 2 months starting September 1st. Actually, I'll let you in whenever you join, whenever you join. Inside the membership, there's also there's a whole library, like I mentioned, of tapping activations. We also have a 21-day tapping challenge coming up. We have the Rise Journal accountability partner. So I'll actually give you an accountability partner. You'll get access to the Rise Journal, which is really exciting. Accountability partner means that this is a daily journal, and it's not just like writing out like what you would love or anything like that. Is a very much a tangible taking action, getting you into the vibration. There's a short meditation, there's a tapping activation that goes along with it, but you're going to have an accountability partner so that you can actually, keep each other accountable and do the thing, because that's what I find is the biggest thing. We know what to do, but are we doing it? Right? And we also have the monthly group coaching call inside the Tapping and Business membership. So I'm going to send the information and the link to Paid by God inside your email when I send the replay to this. All right. And until September 1st, you can get on a 3-month payment plan. So that's 222 a month for 3 months. Okay. After September 1st, the payment plan goes away, or you have a 2-month payment plan, and then the price is also going up. All right. So if you have questions, reach out to me directly. I'm so grateful for every single one of you. Thank you so much for being here live with me and on the replay. There was a bunch of people who registered for this. I know the weekends are a little bit tricky. And normally I don't host these on the weekends. We do them during the week, but then people are working during the week. So, I mean, good thing for the replays. You guys are amazing. I'll see you soon. I'll see you in the group chat. And yeah, reach out if you have any questions about the new program. Bye, you guys. Thank you.